There's going to be people who don't use me. That's fine. There's competition. So that's why I really hammered into social media. And that was the biggest help for me. And also the podcast and doing video and doing evergreen content that's just out there that can constantly bring people in and build this social media platform. And what set me early apart was I started an account before I even had my license, like a year before I got my license.
Today on the podcast, we're sitting down with Sam Stone, the guy who's done over $22 million in revenue just this year through his real estate company. Now, as when it comes to solo agents, he's the top 5 in the state of Kentucky. That is rare because right now there's 7,500 agents that are not doing as good as him right now. So let's get into the podcast. Super excited for the conversation. How you doing, Sam?
Oh, hello. We're ready. Sorry.
We're ready.
I'm ready to roll.
We're
I'm
going.
doing well. I thought you were doing the intro. I was sitting back. So
No, I got to keep you on your toes. Keep it fast.
You do keep me on my toes all the time.
That's what it's here for.
Me and Cam go back, I don't know, a couple of years, and you've been very kind to me and good to me here at the studio. So thanks for having me. This is fun. I'm excited to be on this side of the mic. I use your studio for my podcast and sit in your chair. And I was telling you, it was like, it's kind of nice sitting back and being able to relax on this side and not worry about as much. All the pressure's on you this episode. So this is great.
Well, I love interviewing my clients because there's so much more experience there in practicality versus, like a one-off. Because we have a different kind of relationship than most people. Like we have a working relationship, and then, we see each other in public. It's like, what's up, dude? How you doing? So I want to know, how did you find out about Louisville Podcast Studio?
How did I find? Okay, so probably go back. I really wanted to start a podcast 3 years ago. And I was like, what the world needs is another 30-year-old white guy with a microphone in front of him. And I was like, I'm just not going to start a podcast without a true plan, exactly what I wanted to do. And I'm a big goal setter beginning of the year. And it was 2024 in January. I wrote down okay, I'm going to start a podcast in 2024. So spent pretty much that whole year figuring out what I was going to do. We'll get into it later. Started the podcast Risky Business down the road, but it was November, and I put out, or no, maybe it was October. It's probably this time last year. And I put out on my Instagram, I was like, hey, I have to put out a podcast episode in 2024. It's one of my goals. Where can I shoot a podcast? I was going to do one in my basement. I'd started prepping for one. And long story short, put it out. I had 3 different people that DM me and were like, oh, you need to get with Cam. Sent me your Louisville Podcast Studio in Old Louisville. So I reached out, and you were like, oh yeah, let me, you were the most responsive. There was a couple other places that people had mentioned, and you were real responsive. You're like, oh yeah, come check it out right here, right now. Let's go. I was in Old Louisville for a showing or something. And so I went down, you showed me the place, and we started rolling on it. So we're 22 episodes in, I think now 23 episodes recorded or something like that. So
yeah, you're definitely one of the longest standing clients we have outside of In the Huddle. In the Huddle's in the 60s now.
Oh yeah.
But you're definitely one of the longest standing clients. Now, something through that story that kind of stands out is that, being prompt in your responses is a great business tactic. Mm-hmm. Just replying first makes you more money.
100%. I think in any industry, I think real estate is one that it's y'all see times when, there's 2 branches in real estate, which is what I do. It's one is servicing family and friends and people that are probably going to call you for their business no matter what. Obviously, you have to respond quickly to them, but there's a little bit more grace in that to where it's okay, they already know and trust you. They know I have 2 kids, and if they call me at 6 o'clock at night on a Friday, I'm probably putting the kids down, and they know when I'm putting the kids down, it'll be 8 o'clock. I'll get back with them at 8 o'clock, and they might know my situation better. But when it's random people that you don't know and trust, that just are oh, I saw an ad for Sam, or I saw a podcast and want to reach out to him or whatever. I got a call the other night at 11. This was literally comical. This was Saturday night. I am on my phone. Usually it's on Do Not Disturb past 10 o'clock, but I'm on my phone working, whatever. I get a call at 11:38 p.m. I'm like, what in the world? Who's calling me at 11:38? I literally, hey, sorry, can't call can't pick up right now. Text me. Hey, looking for a rental in this area. Can you help me out? I'm like, are you kidding me? You thought to call me right now was the best thing to do? So it's funny. People are very, I think social media and the way that I market myself is, people see myself, and I put my number out there everywhere, 502-705-0650. Call me. I'll probably pick up unless it's 11:58. But people feel the freedom to just call and reach out. So back to the main thing was you kind of get, if people don't know you, Well, if they want to go see a house and you don't pick up on the first ring or you don't text back immediately and you're like, hey, you can't pick up, can I call you in 20 minutes? They're probably moved on to somebody else. So being the first to respond, especially in an area where you can help people find houses and they're buying a big purchase and you can get paid a commission of that, you got to be prompt and ready to roll, which is a hard life to live sometimes because it's like, oh, okay, that phone call I missed might have been a $10,000 phone call. Shoot. Like it can drive your mind crazy a little bit. So,
yep. It's like whenever I'm on family vacation or ever if I'm like on a date with my girlfriend or whatever, I have to always communicate with people and say, guys, me picking up this phone actually is more important right now because it could be like, if it's your family, you're like, hey, this is like the mortgage for the month. Mm-hmm. If I don't pick up this call, this is a big deal. Or like, these are the things that I need to do. How do you balance communicating with like loved ones around the importance of being prompt really matters? Mm-hmm. And this is why it matters to me.
Yeah, I think most importantly, it's my wife. I'm married and have 2 kids, and most importantly, it's her. She's really on board with, from the very beginning, I really wanted to just be the best in real estate and have some really high aspirations of what I wanted to reach. And so she was very on board with that. She doesn't work, luckily, so she's at home. So I tell people if I was in a situation where she had a full-time job, she was working a 9 to 5, she's getting home at 5, that was our time together right then. And then it was like, oh, real estate's weekends and after 5 o'clock is when it's slammed. Like we're recording this at 10 a.m. on a Monday. I might check my phone and have 1 missed call during this hour and I can ping it back and it's not the end of the world. But you get into, if this was 5 o'clock on a Friday night, like I got 4 missed calls, people wanting to see properties, people responding to offers, that's when it's busy. So, it's for me, setting those expectations, but also like setting up guardrails. Like it's not wrong to have, in the beginning, I was Mr. just yes, whatever. And now it's more like people do respect guardrails. And it's like setting up things where it's like, hey, I can have my phone on do not disturb for this time frame. And, it's like for me, Sunday mornings are like until about noon when we're done with church, my phone's on do not disturb. I'm not really picking up, doing anything. I kind of set times like that. And then it's like mornings are usually slower for me. So I can stay at home with the kids a little bit more and hang out with them and have time where I know my phone is not going to be blown up, which is helpful.
So with that being said, I mean, you've definitely been able to be successful in the industry that you're in to a level that most people can't get to or even just aspire to. What do you feel like has really set you apart when it comes to growing your real estate business and being different than the rest in that industry?
That's a good question. For me, it's been a snowball is the best way to describe it. In the beginning in real estate, everybody gets into real estate. Everybody, you probably know 20 people that have their license. Every person who watches or listens to this knows 20 people that have their real estate license. 5 to 10 of them are probably full-time agents. And the thing I hear over and over from people is like, oh man, like it's hard to pick a real estate agent. We know 20, every friend group has 1, 2 real estate agents in it. Every family has 1 to 2 real estate agents in it. So you're competing in a market that's really, really saturated. And it's a really weird one because in the podcast studio business, there might be a couple competitors in town, but there's a lot of people in Louisville. Mm-hmm. So if you can get in front of somebody, you're like, hey, they're probably going to use you for a podcast studio. For me, every person I talk to knows 20 agents. So when I started off, that was really a hard step to overcome. It was like, okay, like this is a big jump. Like everybody knows somebody, like, what am I doing? Like, how's this going to happen? And in the grand scheme of things, when I look back, it's like I have around 0.3 of the market share of Louisville. Not a big market share. I am almost at full capacity of what I can do. I'm in the process of starting a team right now where I'm bringing on agents to help me do what I can do more and help more people. And just because it's like, okay, I'm around 55, 60 houses sold this year. And so it's like, good night. Like I know how much work it takes to sell 60 houses. And in the grand scheme of things, I can't do more than that on my own. And that's a 0.3 market share. So that means that 99.7% of people choose to not use me as their agent in Louisville. And so when you take that hat off, it's like, it takes the pressure off of like, okay, there's going to be people who don't use me, whatever, that's fine. There's competition. So that's why I really hammered into social media. And that was the biggest help for me. And also the podcast and doing video and doing evergreen content that's just out there that can constantly bring people in and build this social media platform. And so in the grand scheme of things, what set me early apart was I started an account that before I even had my license, like a year before I got my license, I knew I really wanted to get into real estate, started an Instagram account where I just started posting cool houses because I noticed all these real estate agents would only show the houses they were listing. And it was like, oh, here's my listing. Well, yes, this one's in Bardstown, or this one's in Norton Commons, and then the next one's in East Louisville, the next one's in West Louisville. It's like, okay, all over the place. Like in the grand scheme of things, the people who follow those accounts are just your closest family and friends. The rest of them don't really care because there's no sort of consistency with it. So what I started doing was like, I made this account a year before I got into real estate, started growing a following on it. And all I did was just share cool houses that I saw. I'd always be like, hey, this is houses listed by this person, whatever. And here's the house. And so when I started doing that, I started really growing traction on it because it was like, okay, I'm seeing that people want to see cool houses. They want to see expensive houses. They want to see houses that they're interested in, and they want to see them in the areas they're in, who it's listed by or not. So started doing that, started building up a following of people who were interested in these houses. And then when I started getting listings and got my license and started building an account, it was like, okay, I'm also then sharing the listings that I have, merging those together and creating something to where there's a space to where, like, if you look at most other agents' accounts, it's all like agent centered, agent focused. Here's me, here's my house, here's my picture with me and my clients at closing. To me, it's like, in the end, I'm trying to find whatever is most interesting for the client to see, which is then, even though it's not showing me a picture of me and my friend that we just closed a house on, no one cares about seeing that. But in the end, it's actually helping that client the most, because then when they go to list their house, I've built up an account that has active people who are, it's on average 500,000 to 700,000 people per month checking out the account that are all Louisville, Kentucky based and centered and interested in Louisville real estate. And so then they sit there and I can say to them, hey, I have an account that now has 700,000 people who look at it each month. Do you think that's going to raise the sales price of your home, or do you think that's going to drop it? So in a market where a lot of people are asking for a very similar commission, if your uncle's a real estate agent, or your aunt's a real estate agent, or your two friends are real estate agents, and they're all going to ask for 3% to sell your house, and then I come in and say, hey, I'm going to charge the same amount to sell your house, but here's what I can offer, and I can put 700,000 more eyeballs on it, then I've seen that there are a whole lot more people are like, yeah, we want that. And rather than, yes, we're going to send some mailers and I'm going to hold an open house. I'll do the same things, but on top of it, 700,000 eyeballs is a little bit better, in my opinion.
It's the funny thing is that a lot of real estate agents don't want to put money into the marketing that is going to like 10x over time. Not just, oh, I got a Zillow lead, or I just did this thing. Like, this is what you're doing is branding marketing in association. So when people think of Sam Stone, they're going to think of something else. So the branding's on point. And a lot of real estate agents don't put the finances or the resources into marketing themselves in that energy. I'm sure, if you had to guess a high level number, how much do you think you spent on marketing throughout your career?
The fun thing is not as much as what you would think, because so much of it, what I do is free marketing. It's like, the putting out Instagram reels that are catchy and people watch. Yeah. The amount it would cost me to get a reel with 700,000 views on it in marketing spend is so much more than if you put out good content, it does it for free, which is, I think if someone's listening to this and they're like, man, I really want to get started in business, just be a good content creator about the thing you want to do. And if you make good stuff, the amount of eyeballs you're going to get on it is going to be, and it's free. And it's free, except for like what it costs to make it. But it's like, it's free, it's evergreen. So, for me, it's like, I don't know. Marketing per year, I probably, when I branch it down, it's probably in the, $80,000 to $100,000 range of what I spend on business spend. That's truly
a lot of it's that creative
building.
Too.
Yeah. And it's like, I throw into it like what I spend with your podcast studio and like the cost it takes to build a podcast that I tell people. It's like, I heard a quote last year that's like, don't multitask, parallel task. And I love that. It's like, just running around gunning. How can I do this? How can I do that? I've had people reach out to me like, hey, you have a bunch of clients. Like, will you get your insurance license and work underneath me and make it to where you can sell your clients insurance and you can make money off this? And I'm like, that's not like, that's a multitask in my opinion. Like, yes, I guess you could kind of say it's a parallel task because it's helping the same people, but it's like, I'm branding that I'm in real estate. That's all I think about every day. And that's what the podcast helps me do. Is it's not a specific real estate podcast, but it helps bring in people to say, okay, brand awareness. Here's Sam. Here's what he does. We end up talking about real estate in almost every episode. And then getting to sit down with people where, you know, I interview so many people that are in the Louisville area that are leaders in their field to where, no, I'm not getting 10,000 downloads per episode, but the people that are listening, it's all different people for different episodes of that person they want to listen to. And they're getting a little bit of my story in the episode as well, building brand awareness. And then, you know, I just met somebody outside that was like built brand awareness from coming in here, and they knew me when I said my name from just being around you and being here. So that's super helpful. And I don't even remember what the original question was, but
love when that happens. You start ripping and you're like, man.
It's the Donald Trump. I'm just there, except for he brings it back. I'm not as good as him. I can't bring it back. The weave. I can't do that.
He does good. Well, and one thing that, you know, I like is that, I mean, how old are you right now?
30.
So you're still a young guy, still getting there, and you're doing well for yourself. And there's a lot of people who are 30 right now who, you know, aren't in the place where they want to be yet. What do you think has been the mental shifts in your head that have convinced you that A, you're worthy enough to have these good things, and B, to not let negativity shape your perspective around things?
Gosh, how'd you prep these questions? These are just off the dome. These are great questions.
Thank you.
And I mean, yeah. Wow. Okay. So mindset, I think as I get further down the path of building a business, and I think, you know, it's a relative business. I'm not out there saying that I'm building a business like the guys who are starting a product that they're selling from scratch and building a massive business, or I realize that real estate is a different business than most. You're a sole proprietor. It's more of like just one person working. But as I'm building something to where you can sell more to scale your income, I'm realizing that it's so much easier than I thought it would be. And it's also 10 times harder than I thought it was going to be. Everybody gets into real estate because they think it's going to be super easy money. They factor out 3% of a house they bought and they're like, oh, I could do what he did. And I think there's an Alex Hormozy quote, which I know you love him, that's all about and I'll butcher it, but if you want to beat somebody, look at how hard they work 5 times harder than them, and you'll beat them. Most likely they're working twice as hard as what you thought they were. And so 5 should do it, is what he says. And it's like, to me, I started reading all these real estate books and all the things that Ninja Selling. If somebody's interested in getting into real estate, I'd recommend read Ninja Selling. It's an incredible book. Read it, do what it says, and you'll be successful. Most people will not do it. And that's what people challenged me on early on was, you know, every industry has those books and those things that's like, you know, here's the path to do it. And most people just don't want to do the things that it takes. For example, for me, it was like in the book, it says, hey, write 2 handwritten notes a day to your sphere. And this was like early on, didn't have clients. And I was like, okay. And it says like, write 2 handwritten notes a day. And I was like, well, what if I wrote 4? I feel like that should, if I do double what it says and I can do that for a year, like I feel like if that would help. And long story short, for the first year of my business, I did not go to sleep until I wrote 4 handwritten notes. Saturday, Sunday, whatever day I was on vacation, whatever it was, I'd go on vacation. I'd be like, I don't think actually I had money to go on vacation then. I'd go on a break or whatever it was called, and I would write 4 handwritten notes before I'd even leave that day, have them ready to go. Literally wouldn't let myself go to bed before that. And, you know, fast forward, had a sale this year. I won't get into the details, but had a lady who reached out, and husband had passed away, and I had written him a note from very early on that was, you know, ran into him, wrote him a note. It was sitting on his desk and he had passed away, and she went back to his desk and saw a note from me sitting on his desk, called me 4 years later to sell their house. And like just this last year, I got to sell their house and got to walk through a pretty hard season of passing and all this stuff from that. And it was from literally like full circle from the first like 3 months in real estate when I was just four notes a day. Mm-hmm. And so it's just funny. It's like in every industry, there's ways that you can cut corners, and not like in a doing business wrong way, but like cut corners on yourself and like, oh, like, could I go to bed and actually write 3 notes? Is it really going to hurt anything? No, it's not. But for me, it was like the mental mindset of here's what I'm going to do. I think in an industry of solo entrepreneur, like no one's there holding me accountable. I think that's one thing that sets me apart. To answer your question, super long story short, if you can be the person that holds yourself accountable, here's the goals I'm going to hit. Like in 2024, I'm going to start a podcast. For me, it wasn't an option. I have it written down on my thing. I'm going to start a podcast this year. I was going to put out an episode, whether it was trash or not. Todd Earwood, a guy from who I interviewed on my podcast, incredible dude, genius. He said, hey, if the first product that you put out for your business or whatever you're starting, when you look back at it, if it doesn't embarrass you, you waited way too long to start. And it's like, just get something out there, put your mind to what you're going to say. Hey, here's what I'm going to do, and just get the ball rolling on it. And in the end, being consistent and having the mental mindset of like, I don't have an option, I'm doing this, is really helpful. So long answer to your question.
Do you think that's part of the reason why? Because in my head, I'm really obsessed with the idea of like, why do some people not do more? Mm-hmm. Why are they not trying harder? So for you, I mean, what do you think the reasons are behind why you're successful and why you're not like content? Because a lot of people get content. They're like, mm-hmm. I make $100,000 a year. That's it. But I feel like for me and you, like we get to points and we're just not content with it yet. Like we just want more. And not because we're greedy, but I feel like it's maybe because it's just fun. It's a game to an extent. So where are you at with that?
Yeah, that's funny you say that, because I feel like it's a blessing and a curse. It's like, the goal setting is there. I think for me, I've had to rein myself back in because my mindset is really all just like, what's the next goal I can hit? Like in the end, like I want to sell the most in Kentucky. Like I'm not there yet. I want to be the number 1 agent in Kentucky. So I'm not there, and I have trying to make a path to get there, but like that's my next goal. That's what I want to hit. And so it's, will you say the question one more time in the beginning? I think I don't want to get off track.
Or good. No, it's basically what do you think? I mean, Alex Moses says this in a great way where he says every successful person is either running towards something or running away from something.
Yeah.
Like it's one or two. And typically running away from something is a lot stronger than towards something. So for you, what's driving you to want to be so successful?
I think it is, I'm not super monetarily driven. Like I have goals that I want to hit, but it's not like it's the mindset of like, I want to be the best. And so it's not like I want to be the best at whatever I am. I think a lot of it in, as like hard to say as a guy, but like a lot of it is like pride and like I grew up in a family where my dad was a pastor, had a large church. I was known for being a pastor's kid. And I was known for, that's what I was known for. It was like, everybody just knew me as Dave's son. Everybody just knew me as pastor's kid. And a lot of it was like, as you mentioned, I'd never heard that quote before, but like people are either running away from something or running to something. A lot of it, I feel like in the early on was me running away from, like, I want to build something that is not, I don't want to be known for who my dad is. And it was like running away from, it's hard to say that too, but like running away from, not that I'm running away from him, but like running away from like being known for something that I didn't control or didn't create. It's like, I want to do something that's like Sam built that. And so a lot of it was selfish, and I think still is that way, where it's like, I want to be the best because I'm trying to not be known for something that I had no control over, which is hard to say. But I think some of it, and not running away from my dad, love him, obviously he's incredible, but just running away from being known for something that I had no control over. And I was like, I want to have a name for myself in real estate, which has been fun to build up. So,
yeah, it's funny because you know, I come from a well-off family. You probably have a similar situation where they were financially well. And there's two different people, because you have people who come from a not well-off family and then they rise to the occasion. But then there's the struggle of coming from a well-off family and being like, the mindset of everyone's always thinking, oh, everything was just given to you, or, oh, you didn't really work for that. And I know for me, I have that constant need of being like, I'm going to work so hard that can't even be a conversation anymore. Because that's kind of what's driving me. Do you feel like you ever share some of that sentiment where you're like, I just want to show people, because you're saying I just want to create something powerful to prove to myself that I can.
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't fun. My dad was a pastor, so it wasn't like he's like super well off. So there's no like, for me, it wasn't monetarily, but also I think that, I lost my train of thought where I was at, but it's harder to be on this side than I thought it was going to be. You're doing a great job. But, I think for me, it is, I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. Can you say that one more time, what you were asking?
No, yeah, basically. You
don't have to cut any of this either. People can see how bad of an interviewee I am.
No, you're good. Well, I just like asking questions that cause people to, I think there's different layers to thinking. Kind of like I think of it like the rings to a tree, and like the center of the tree is 100 years or your life, and we're like peeling back the layers of you from each year. There's the different ideas and ideologies that's carving each one, because each, like, 15-year-old Sam influenced 16-year-old Sam, which influenced 17-year-old Sam.
Yeah,
each one's coming out. So I'm really interested in like your root influences, because your root influences are what made you successful. So
I know what I was going to say now. Yes, and it was back to the root thing. I think when I was growing up, one thing that really, really helped, that has pushed me in the right way, is growing up in a family where there was a big church. Everybody felt like they were involved in my business. Everybody had an opinion of me. Everybody. Either they loved Sam's dad was my pastor. He's the best thing since sliced bread. Therefore, Sam's amazing. They'd never met me. They thought I was great. Or I hate that church. 6 flags over Jesus. Hate everything they stand for. They're the worst. Sam's probably goody two shoes. All this stuff. Sam's probably, just whatever. People had 2 opinions of me. So growing up, it was very much like, I felt like every room I walked into, people had already decided what they thought about me. And so there wasn't like this, like, I established a thing where I really didn't care as much about what people thought about me. Because I didn't really have the ability to walk in and be like, oh, like, we've never met Sam, or I've never, in Louisville, like, I've never been like able to be like, oh, like, I don't have an opinion on Sam. You know what I mean? Most people do, if not everybody. Not everybody knows who I am, obviously. But a lot of circles I would go into, people would either have a inclination one way or the other, which was super freeing when I got into real estate, because it was like, I really don't care what you think about me. You know what I mean? Back to the thing we said earlier, I have a 0.3% market share. I'd love to get to 1% market share. I'd love to sell 1 of 100 houses in Louisville. That's 3xing my business. And out of 7,500 agents, if I can sell 1 out of 100, that's really, really good. And so for me, I'm like, 99 people out of 100 have to say, I don't like Sam. I don't want to use Sam. He's the worst. If 99 people can say that, I just need 1 out of 100 to be like, I'm behind that. I love Sam, which is freeing, because it's like on my podcast, we talk about politics sometimes. Talk about something where most people would be like, don't touch that with a 10-foot stick. You know what I mean? Like, some of the guests I bring in, maybe a little bit controversial. And it's like, in the end, like, here's who I am. I'm going to put out there exactly who I am. I'm not going to act like I'm somebody else. The most freeing thing is when, like, I meet somebody in person, they're like, oh, you're just like you are on social media. Like, I see your videos. You seem pretty similar. It's like, that's what I want it to be, because it's so much easier than when I get a phone call and I feel like you're the same way. You put yourself out there so much on social media. It's like, oh yeah, you meet Cam. It's like, that's the same one that you see in the videos and all the stuff. And it's like, if I'm acting like I'm a different person, or acting like somebody I'm not, or acting like this is me and I'm better than you, or I'm worse than you, whatever it is, then it's like when we go to meet in person, then I have to act like that person that I'm not. It's like, here's me. I work at Sotheby's, which is like the largest luxury brokerage. A lot of people wear 3-piece suits every day, and it's like all, like, that's not me. And so, like, there's definitely listings that I dress up nicer for than others, but it's like, this is what I wear about 99% of the time. And here's where I am. And if you don't want to work with me, that's okay. You know, like I think that's a secret behind success, is not caring what people think about you and just being willing to be like, I'm going to put stuff out there. I'm going to put myself out there. You have the option to like me or not. My wife loves me. My kids, I think, love me. My parents love me. And I have a lot of really good friends that enjoy hanging out with me. And it's freeing when you have like a group like that that's like, hey, I'm behind you. And so hopefully that answers the question.
No, yeah.
Even though you had to ask it twice.
No, totally. Well, it's I think that's one of the, you hit on a good point there. It's one of the strongest things someone can do to be successful in anything is to not care. And everyone's always confused because people think caring means that it's going to be better. Mm-hmm. But actually, the less you care, the better it's going to get, because you're not. And
I want to clarify, I care. Hopefully when people listen to this, I care about people more than anything. So it's not that I don't care about people. It's not caring what people who are not going to, people get what I'm saying. I care about people. I don't care what people think about me. You know what I mean? Like that mindset. Well, hopefully that came across correct.
No, well, and that's what people need to understand, because you have a mindset that most people find so different that they couldn't even relate to if they wanted to. Because I'm a similar way of, I just don't care. I don't care about the outcome. Mm-hmm. Because if I mess up on a sale, if I mess up on something, okay, I have another try. I'm not dead. Like that's what I always go to. I'm still alive. Well, how bad could it be? Mm-hmm. Or even think about, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Oh, people think I look silly, or they're going to say some things. People forget about everything in 24 hours. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's been huge events in history. Like the Holocaust was terrible. I don't hear about that every single day. Like that was the worst thing in the world. And that's not mentioned. So for people to have so much ego to think that your sale or something's going to be wrong and your life's going to be over.
There's a lot of museums set up for the Holocaust. I've been to a couple of them. So I don't know if that's the perfect example, but
but hopefully people can like get what I'm saying upon the point of like, people could just clip that. I hope my editors clip that and just use it against me.
Clip it. Luckily we're not on a 3 camera. We're on a 2 camera. So it's just your face on that one.
We'll just get it. But it's the idea of like, things aren't that, people are going to forget about it. And they're not going to forget what it means, but you're not the center of the world. Like there are things bigger 100%. Than you.
I love a quote, like, dance like nobody's watching, because they're probably not. They're on their phone. And it's like,
exactly. And
people care so much about, like, people just care about themselves. So like they're worried about like how they look on the internet. Like you sit there, everybody probably does it. I know I do it. You sit there and you're like, oh, here's the 10 pictures I'm going to post from my vacation. Let me make sure I look really good on picture number 8. Let me make sure that's cropped out because I don't like the way my foot looks in this one. It's like, guess what? Ain't nobody scrolling to picture number 8. And if they did, it was this fast. Oh, that's cool. Oh, nice. Oh, awesome. Cool. Next thing. And it's like, I think if I could challenge people who are listening to this, who are starting real estate, starting any business, get content out there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Go look at my content. Louisville KY Real Estate. Louisville, Kentucky Real Estate. Louisville KY Real Estate is my Instagram handle. I should know it better. Type in Sam Stone. It's there. The content is not, there's a couple videos, really great. I pay a lot to get those done. Then the other ones, it's me on my phone talking. Hey, here's a walkthrough of this really cool house. I wanted to show it to you. And it's way better than what you can see on Zillow and just swiping through pictures, because you actually get the feel of the house. It is on my phone. It is me in a bathroom, probably, like, because the office is loud and I'm like sitting there recording, like, hey, walk through this room with me and I'm going to go to the bath. Oh, actually, never mind. I turned to the primary bedroom and it's 5 bedrooms up here. Actually, it's 4.5. Yeah, whatever. And it's like, that is it. That's what people like, because everything is so polished and perfect. And here's this. It's like, let me see something real. And I think that I would just challenge anybody. I was talking to somebody the other day who has a skincare brand, and they were talking about building stuff up. I was like, man, just like put stuff out there, put real stuff out there. People like seeing real. I had the dad water guy on my podcast, mom water, dad water guy on my podcast. And he's like, I think the secret to success for them was like they're in the top 10 in their whatever it would be beverage category of alcohol. And he was like, everybody else is this massive company with massive brand ambassadors of Travis Kelce coming in and paying him millions of dollars to say, hey, you should drink this drink. He's like, people love ours because it is a grassroots built. Moms love it, passed on mom to mom, word of mouth. They have names on the cans that are like the Karen, all these different things. And he's like, people love it because it's grassroots and it's like, it's not like an influencer doing it. It feels just real, like organic and natural. And I think like if you're starting your business in 2025, whatever business it's in, put a ton of content out there. In the end, the algorithm, it's not like it used to be where you can just scroll through and see everybody's stuff. The only people who are going to see your stuff are people who are interested in your content already. And then just put it out there. You know, like a famous quote that I love is like, people are going to make fun of you. They're going to laugh at you when you start, and then you're going to succeed, and they're going to ask you how you did it, and they're going to ask you to be their mentor. And it's like, you know, you probably see this already. Like people probably laughed at you. Oh, you're starting a podcast studio. Cool. Like, yeah, that's awesome, Cam. And now it's like, you're crushing it. You have hundreds of people who call you their client or that are your client. How old are you? 27?
26.
26. You're 26 years old, and you have, you know, I know how much we connect and communicate, and like you're crushing it. And it's been how long ago did you start Louisville Podcast Studio?
I mean, you were one of the first clients to sign up when I opened. So like
a year or 2 years ago. It's like,
yeah.
In the beginning, people were like, oh, cool, you're starting a podcast studio. Now it's like rolling multiple locations. You're telling me you're branching out to all these cities to start different locations. It's like people are going to start calling you saying like, hey, can you show me how you did this? And it's like, you just took a bunch of risk every day. You bet on yourself. You did similar things to me of being like, and it wasn't writing handwritten notes every day, but it was like, I'm not going to bed until I do this. Mm-hmm. You text me at late hours and it's like, you're responsive. It's like, you have the ability to not do that and be like, hey, it's after 6 o'clock, I'm not going to text back, and your business is going to slow down. So it's like, you're a perfect example of this, and you're crushing it. So
thank you. Yeah. I always try to tell people that it's weird. It's not as complicated as you think, but it is as hard as you think.
100%.
So it's not like, I don't know some secret algorithm. I don't have, there's no special thing I'm doing, but I don't really hang out with friends. I don't like to party, and I work every day, all day. Like,
that's just you're in the middle of how many days are we? 20 days into the month where you're posting how many times a day?
Oh, I think I like forgot to post content for like 2 days. So we have like a 2-day hiatus right now. But I have I know.
Cam, you were supposed to do it every day.
Well, my account manager forgot. So I am not posting. I have someone else doing it, so they didn't get the content. So that's on me. I should have gotten
Clip this episode. Let's get some content out there.
We're going to get some plenty of content. Good. But the thing is that I've already learned so much.
You got a bunch of content of me saying, hey, could you repeat that question again?
You do it again. We'll make a bloopers session of it. But we've had the funny thing is too, people, I think it was a perfect example that there is no such thing as too much posting. I've not had a single person on my Instagram be like, God, can you stop posting? You've been posting so much. Because no one's seeing it.
Yeah.
Like, if I have 80,000 followers and I post and it shows it to like 0.1% of my followers, man, I'm not getting shown to a lot of people who post 30 times a day. And then you get the compounded interest of like, okay, you posted and it's going to be on the algorithm, and the algorithm will keep testing it. Mm-hmm. And then if it goes and blows up, now you have a video that had 300, but now it's at like 2,500, which is a huge outlier for the consistency. So it's just, like I said, it's a numbers game. Mm-hmm. Just do 4 handwritten letters, you do 20 calls, you do 25 door knocks, whatever it is. And my favorite thing about business is that it's when I figure out the number game of like, oh, when I do 100 DMs and I close one client, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I need to do 500 DMs, close 5 clients. I know that cost. I know what it's going to cost me. Mm-hmm. Now I have a machine.
And it's being willing to, and I've experienced this on the podcast, asking people questions, being willing to take small successes and not cash out those small successes, but reinvest them in your business. And it's going to look different in every person's business, but saying, hey, in real estate, let's say somebody makes $200,000 in their first year and they do really well. Well, that's awesome. They made $200,000 and they're 9 months into the year and they make that and they're like, oh, well, sweet. I can $200,000. I can take the rest of the year off. It's like, okay, well, they took those last 3 months off. They shot themselves in the foot because then the next year they're not going to match it again. Or they could have doubled their business in the next year, but they're not going to do it because they took the time off. They didn't reinvest in marketing. They didn't go back and say like, hey, I'm going to go, let's scale this and let's use these funds to scale in a different way. Or, the way you just put it with yours, it's like, okay, it's going to cost me, let's say $5 per lead that I'm going to get. And it's the average lead, obviously yours is different, but let's say somebody's selling something different. Average lead I make $20 on, it's going to cost me $5. So there's $15. Let's do that 1,000 times. It's like, that's what a lot of people are just like, oh, let me go get a new car and take a vacation. It's like the people you see succeed are like reinvesting in themselves or training themselves to reinvest better.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is reinvesting. Because I mean, even before this, like I started businesses since I've been 18. Like I've had so many different companies throughout my years, and I had a lighting company. You know, we had over $500,000 in inventory. I made $140,000 in like a year. I put literally every dollar back into the business, just buying new equipment and scaling it. So people can see a lot of revenue and a lot of, you know, monetary success, quote unquote. But the second you decide, oh, I'm good and I can just walk away from it, is when the business starts dying. Because in my head, you're either growing or you're dying. So it's like you better be growing every day or it's going to start falling apart. Because there's someone else who's probably just as hungry, who's they're getting a piece of that pie too. So you need to be like hounding it. And the pie is huge. There's plenty of room for everybody.
Yeah.
So you can always allow yourself to grow into that success.
Completely agree. I think when I was looking at people to hire for my team, it's like having people there's three things I wasn't looking for. It's like small-minded and tight-gripped. Like those are the things that will just kill a team, is like people who are small-minded. Oh, like I don't know, this is all I want to do this year is do this much. And like, I can't grow past that. Or like tight-gripped. Like I feel like in an industry, there's a lot of industries that are similar to real estate where you get paid. You can have really great months, you can have really bad months, which causes people to be really tight gripped. And it's like, okay, well, I don't want to spend money because, I don't know when my next paycheck is coming. And so you ebb and flow really hard. And it even extenuates, I don't even know if that's the correct word, expands that ebb and flow, because it's like, okay, well, I just need to hold on to this. And it's like, for me, I've just seen the way that like even being generous or just being open-handed with funds and being able to, I just had somebody that like, I could have done something better with a projector that was in a house that we closed on. Projector I didn't realize how much projectors are these days. I offered to buy these people a projector that I felt like I could have done a better job on. And it was like 3 times more than I thought it was going to be. It was apparently like the Mac Daddy of projectors. It was like $3,200 projector. Yeah. I'm like, oh, shoot. Like I offered to buy him one. I just ordered it the other day because I was like, shoot, it's more important for me to keep my word and have these people happy at the end of their process. Because, there was a long story. Like the sellers thought they could keep the projector. Yeah. Buyers thought they were keeping the projector.
Yeah.
The wording that it was used in the contract. And I was like, you know what? I could have done a better job earlier for this. There's a million things like that in real estate or in every business. And it's like, you know what? I just ate in $3,200 into what my cost was or what I made on this house. But in the grand scheme of things, hopefully those people are going to leave and be like, oh, like we had a great experience with Sam. He kept his word, even though we'll see the receipt. Here's the thing I gave you. It's $3,200. Like that was more important for him to keep us happy. And in the end, I think when you have that mindset of, not tight gripped, like I be like, oh no, I'm not buying you that. Like, yeah, of course. But also then I have somebody who's out there who had a bad experience with me. Mm-hmm. And it's more important for somebody to have a good experience than it is to have $3,200 for me. So that's
exactly true. It's like a lot of people. So in my industry, it's more of like, I can deal with chargebacks. I can deal with refunds, like people not being happy with the product, whatever it is. And I've learned the less and less I care about money. It's funny because you got to care a lot about the business and growing it, but you also have to not care about, it's like $5,000. Who cares? Like it'll be okay. If it makes someone really happy, it'll work. Mm-hmm. And I had an example where this situation was hilarious. A guy had a membership. It was like $1,000 a month. Didn't understand that was a membership. I was like, okay, maybe I can communicate better. Similar to you, like maybe the communication just wasn't clear enough. Mm-hmm. And you can think all day like, oh, it was clear. It's like, well, they didn't understand. So you obviously weren't clear enough for them.
Yeah, of course.
And the charge came out and he's like, oh, I didn't know that was membership. I was like, okay, whatever. Refund him the money, $1,000, not the end of the world, but also I like $1,000 in my account. It's nice. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about $1,000.
Yeah, but you don't have a guy out there who's like, oh, let me post on Facebook and talk about how horrible this place is because they stole $1,000 from me. And it's like, okay, that's a win.
Yeah, exactly. But 2 days later, the exact same client hits me up for a different product and spends $1,000. And I'm like, man, the world works in funny ways.
That is fun.
But I've had a lot of situations like that where, you don't have a tight grip. You just let it happen. and it just comes back to you somehow. And in your head, you're like, my brain is not wired to work like this. Like, I don't get it, but that's great. So I encourage people to, like you said, be more even just giving. Like, I've had times too where, and I don't give expecting to get things, but it's just, I know when I'm a better person, better things happen. I don't know why things happen like that. It's crazy how that works. But like I say, if I donate to a charity, or if I do something nice, or if I do something that's like, I somehow get a call the next day and it's a giant client. So I've almost been like trained to be like, just be a better person, just be more open-minded, and good things keep happening.
Yeah.
But also,
I wish I knew the scripture on it, but it's literally like God literally says it in the scripture. He's like, this is something I want you to test me on. Like, it's not obviously the, give to have God give you more, but it's like, God literally says, like, test me on this. Like, this is what's best, whether it be monetarily back for you, or like truly the feeling you just mentioned of like, I would rather give a gift to somebody 100 times more than get a gift. Like, it is so much more fun for me to give a gift to a client or to a friend that like truly has meaning, that I know they're going to love. Like, it's great to get something. I'm like, oh yeah, but I could have got that. I could have just gone and bought that. Like, I would much rather be like, giving somebody something that they didn't expect, that's personal, for something that you heard from them. I listened to Darren Walters as a pastor talk about on a podcast, just the unexpected giving is like the most fun to receive. Is like when somebody, it's not your birthday, it's like, hey, I heard you say something about this problem you were having. I went, thought about it in my free time, spent my own money to send it to you. It's like, that's the most fun to do for me, is like to give in that way. So that's what I enjoy.
No, giving's great. I mean, now that I'm in a place where I can a lot more freely give, if that's like, oh yeah, I'm throwing a few $100 something, that's fine. Like, if I'm going out to eat, $50 check, give a $200 tip, makes their night, be super sweet.
I'll be your waiter sometime. Take $200 tips from me.
And I'm in the place right now where I'm trying to figure out how to gift my clients like you, because a lot of my clients are successful, and I know monetarily they're like, that doesn't really matter. So I'm trying to figure out what.
I don't know how rich you think I am, Cam, but I'll still take whatever from you, and that's not.
But I'm saying, like, I want to give like gifts where people are like, oh, that really matters. So I'm trying to figure that out now. Do you ever give like gifts to your clients, like after you're selling a house? You're like, hey, appreciate you working with me.
Yeah.
Here's like,
I think what's fun is like not like most people do. Like, for me, I think I revert back to like, most people do it and they like take a picture and give them the gift. And it's like for me, I'm like, I change it up so much, like based on the client. It's like, okay, like, it's not like every single time, but like if I heard a conversation where somebody like, somebody really loves a certain cigar or bourbon, or, they have a room in their house where they're like, get a rug that's like personalized with their name on it, or something like a doormat, or just stuff like that. Just random things that they might hear that I'm like, oh, this could be fun for them to have. I like doing that more because it's more personal rather than just like, here's a candle with my picture on it or something.
Yeah. I feel like I need to start recording all my conversations with my clients so I can listen back, because my brain's always going. So the ADHD is bad. I get bad short-term memory with everything.
It's helpful if you just like do it immediately. It's like Etsy is so fun.
I need to start doing that.
Etsy's great because it's like, you can personalize stuff that's like, I started doing something a while ago. It's like, anybody I hear that gets a hole-in-one, it's like $55. You can go on Etsy. You print out, it's like a golf ball holder. Says like their name, says the hole they got it on, says the course they were playing, all the stuff, the date. And it's like, because I like to golf. So anytime I hear a buddy gets a hole-in-one, I literally just go on there, order it, it's $55, ship it to their house, kind of forget about it. Like 2 weeks later, they'll call me back, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much. Because they're not going to go, probably if they hit a hole-in-one, like go do it themselves. But like, it takes me 2 minutes, and it's like, that type of stuff is really fun for me.
Yeah. That's what I think. There's, that kind of sparked another idea. It's, I don't know how I'd react to this, but guys always buy girls flowers. Like, there's a lot of things that guys are trained to do that's like chivalrous. It's like, how can guys be like that for other guys? I went to a men's group recently, and
please don't buy me flowers.
I'm getting you roses now with a little love letter. But, especially with men, gift giving, I feel like can be hard sometimes, because if you ever notice this, like when you see guys hug other guys, you always see them pat their back.
Yeah.
And they always do it. And it's because it's uncomfortable. Yeah. So I've made it a thing now. And it was so funny whenever someone pointed that out, I was like, dang it. Yeah, you're right. That is true.
Definitely do that.
They do that. So now I don't pat. I just squeeze. And it's such a different experience now, because I was like, how can I be more intentional with like my touch, like with how I treat people?
Clip it. Clip that right there.
I'm going to touch a pretty boy.
Come work with Cam. He'll give you a long, intentionally squeezing hug.
Man, I'm popping back while I'm at it too. Dang. Give him a big bear hug. But is there anything in your life right now where you're trying to be more intentional with how you're doing things?
Yeah, I feel like there's nothing specific that I'm like, I feel like I'm a builder in my mind mentally. So like that is naturally where I am. It's like, okay, like I want to start a podcast. I want to build it up. That's great. I want to do this. I started a real estate business in 2020, 2021, have built it up to be fairly successful. And it's like, I don't have a new thing that I'm like, oh, I'm going to go start this. In 2025, none of my goals were to start something new. It was more of just like sustain, maintain, and build, and bring on team members that can help do things that I'm not as good at to be able to grow and be able to serve the most people. So I feel like it's been a weird mindset year for me, where it's not like a lot of my years are like starting this new thing, growing something from the start and making it 10 times bigger than the beginning, because it's a whole lot easier to go from 1 to 10 than it is 100 to 10,000. You know what I mean? Like that 10x is a whole lot different. So for me, I'm I guess 100 to 10,000 is not 10x. Never been that great at math off the top of my head. But for me, this, like, back to your question, is my goals and things I'm striving for this year, just building, maintaining, and bringing the right people on board to help serve the most people, and not lose the experience that you're going to get if I'm not going to be involved in like opening every door and showing every house, but finding a way that you can say like, I sold my house with Sam, or I bought a house with Sam, and there was multiple people involved who were all able to help in a way that was exactly how Sam would have done it, and have myself in every single sale in a way that's still personal with people, but still gives the ability for me to do the things I do best, and marketing and getting in front of people's face to face. But I don't need to be the one that sends every single email, and kind of learning what that looks like. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, Sam, I appreciate being on the podcast.
Enjoyed it.
What is one thing you'd want to leave the audience with today?
If you are free and you're listening, if you're looking for another podcast to listen to, Risky Business Podcast, check it out. I think my goal with that podcast is to challenge people to take the next risk in life. And so if somebody's listening to this and they're saying, man, and they've made it this far, 40 minutes in or whatever, and they're saying, man, that's so cool. You found your thing in real estate. You found your thing in podcast studio. Like, that's awesome. I don't have my thing. I would say challenge you, take the next 3 months, put a date on the calendar. Today is October, November, December, January. Say by January 20th, I'm going to have a plan in place to make my next risk. And so it's not like you have to make a huge, massive jump. I think when I sit back at my podcast, everybody said the same thing. It's not betting black on a roulette and spinning it and saying like, okay, I got a 48% chance of hitting this one. It's like, no, I'm going to take calculated risk to where I'm not going to just flip a coin and it's going to be heads or tails. Like, I'm going to make it to where it's a 4-sided coin and 3 of them are in favor of me, and I'm taking a 75% chance on this. And so take the next 3 months. If someone's listening to this and they're like, oh, I don't know what my next risk is. Take 3 months to figure out what your risk is. Then take the next 3 months to be like, here's my prep and plan to get it done. And then have it launched at the end of those 3 months. Because like Todd mentioned earlier in my podcast, or what I mentioned that he quoted on, was like, if you're not embarrassed by the first thing you waited too long, write it down on your sticky note, put it on your wall. I will do this by this date. I will do this by this date. And this is starting by this date. And I think if you can take time to prep, give yourself fair and ample time to where you spend an hour every day for those next 3 months, figuring out what you're going to do. You might do it sooner, an hour every day, the next 3 months after that, planning on how you're going to succeed at that and watching videos, listen to the podcast about it. And then that 6 month mark, you've started your thing. And so my thing would be prep and plan for your next risk, and then start that risk and put it out there, and work on not caring what people think about you, because they don't really care. They're just on their phones.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks, brother. It was fun.
Bye.
I knew I really wanted to get into real estate, started an Instagram account where I just started posting cool houses.